Hey guys, Antonio here, Enhanced Movements, continuing shoulder series for pain and performance. Today we're going to talk about vertical pressing. In the prior videos, we talked about horizontal and how we want to prevent like this kind of like front shoulder dip position as we're doing like a push-up or a burpee. In the same context, if we're going overhead, we want to kind of consider the same thing, right? So I'm going to start pressing overhead in whether strict or any of our more dynamic lifts. I want to make sure I'm not shrugging up like this. The interesting thing is too, one of the main complaints we talk about, or we hear a lot, sorry, is like wrist pain or trouble in the front rack. We got to think of kind of like this multifactorial approach of what might be causing wrist pain, right? If I have just a true mobility issue, meaning I can't get my elbows up to save the life of me, that's going to cause more stress here, right? Now, one of the other things we see is if we're in this kind of like front rack shrug position, if I'm trying to get my elbows up, but my shoulders like kind of just rounded here, notice if my shoulder dips forward, where's my elbow go? Goes back. It's going to make that impossible. So although we know it's not really like front racks don't look like this, if I'm trying to front rack and I'm like doing this shrug thing at the same time, it's going to be hard to stay in that position and or feel comfortable and secure in that position. So something we got to take in consideration as we're doing that, okay? That's just talking about front rack. Now, our front rack is super important because, as we know, it's the transition point from however we're cleaning it up or getting it off the rack to going overhead. So in this position here, right, I want to make sure I'm keeping those shoulders back and down, and I'm almost trying to create like this like J. It's kind of like J motion. If I can actually get more reach from around my back and my shoulder blades coming around, it's going to help me get up underneath that bar with my elbows and prevent that shoulder from shrugging up. If I'm in a nice tucked back position and packed position, before I initiate that press, then I'll be in a good, strong, centered position, okay? So from kind of an angle point here like this, right? Boom, pressing over, okay? Now the other thing we're going to talk about is just like our push-ups, oftentimes it's that eccentric portion where someone's lowering that bar, shoulders start coming up, they catch it here, and then they actually get it to their chest, and then they decide to rack, right? That whole time, under eccentric load, right, as I'm starting to do this, I'm starting to shrug up more and more. It's just putting that same type of anterior front load on that shoulder. So what I want you to think about, again, it's not going to come crashing down if you don't resist it. As you're coming down, I want you to think pull up, right? I'm going to do a pull up off the rig. I'm going to pull that bar down right to that front rack position. If I'm able to kind of add that in as I pull this down, it's going to activate kind of the back and the lats to keep my shoulder depressed, and then I go right into that front rack. Press, pull down. Press, pull down, okay? So some things to consider and try if you're having a little difficulty in that transition, or you know you have a little bit of pain bringing that barbell down. Have any questions, let us know. Thanks for tuning in. If you have a gym buddy who you know is doing this, just send it over to them. Be a good friend. And we're going to talk about some dips next time.